15 years ago, the screens were smaller, the connections slower, but the cruelty was just as sharp. Elias, the narrator, along with his inner circle, Marcus, Chloe, and Noah, were the kings of their high school. Their kingdom was built on exclusion, their power solidified by their secret chat group, a digital haven for their mean-spirited jokes and targeted ridicule. Their favorite victim was Sarah, a quiet girl with severe epilepsy, prone to seizures triggered by flashing lights. One rain-slicked Tuesday afternoon, a twisted idea sparked in Marcus. "Let's bring Sarah into the group," he typed, a devilish emoji winking after the suggestion. The others readily agreed. They added Sarah, then unleashed a barrage of flashing GIFs, strobe-like video clips, and endless @Sarah tags, watching her profile icon glow with each notification, a digital assault on her known weakness. After what felt like an eternity, they kicked her out, their cruel laughter filling the digital void. The next morning, Sarah was found dead in her bathroom, a seizure having caused her to fall and drown. Her family moved away, leaving behind only hushed whispers and a gaping void in their school's history. The incident was ruled an accident, but the guilt gnawed at Elias. 15 years had passed, and the group had fractured, their lives diverging, though the ghost of their past lingered. Elias, now a successful but perpetually anxious software engineer, tried to bury the memory. Then, late one night, a notification pinged on his phone. A new group chat had been created, simply titled "Missing." All four of them, Elias, Marcus, Chloe, and Noah, were in it. And then, a fifth member, an unknown contact, simply labeled "Observer." No one could leave the group. No one could delete it. It sat there, a silent, unblinking eye on their digital lives, a chilling echo from a past they desperately wanted to forget. Elias felt a cold dread crawl up his spine, a sense of digital haunting that no firewall could protect against. The group chat, once their instrument of cruelty, now felt like a digital coffin slowly being sealed shut. The "Missing" group chat remained dormant for days, a digital sword of Damocles hanging over their heads. Elias tried everything, deleting the app, factory resetting his phone, but the chat would always reappear, the "Observer" icon a constant, unblinking eye. Then, Marcus messaged the group, agitated. "My phone just went haywire. It kept flashing Sarah's old profile picture, wouldn't stop. I almost crashed." That same night, a news alert flashed across Elias's computer screen: tragic accident on Highway 9, local businessman Marcus Thorne killed. Elias's blood ran cold. He immediately called Chloe, his voice shaking. Chloe, always the pragmatist, dismissed it as coincidence, but her voice held a tremor of fear. The next morning, the details emerged. Marcus's car had veered off the road at high speed. The fire department's report was chilling: Marcus's body hadn't just been in the driver's seat. It was as if he'd been forcibly folded into the glove compartment. Every bone in his body had been snapped and compacted, his limbs bent at impossible angles, crammed into the small space. His head and feet were twisted 180 degrees, and his eyes, frozen in a rictus of terror, had actually burst from the extreme pressure. The coroner, baffled, simply called it extreme post-mortem compression. The police found his phone. The screen was shattered, but it was still displaying a single, rapidly flashing GIF, a blurry image of Sarah's face, distorted and pixelated. The "Missing" group chat now showed Marcus as left the chat, but the "Observer" was still there, watching. Elias knew. The game had begun. The digital haunting had become terrifyingly physical. The fear was palpable now. Noah, the most withdrawn of the group, started barricading himself in his apartment, refusing to answer calls. Chloe, ever the defiant one, swore she would find a way to hack into the missing group, convinced it was some elaborate prank gone wrong. Elias, however, felt a growing, sickening certainty that this was Sarah's revenge, amplified by something far more sinister than their youthful cruelty. Chloe worked tirelessly, her apartment filled with multiple monitors displaying lines of code. She messaged the group, "I'm close. This isn't just an app, it's a gateway." Then, her screen began to glitch. A high-pitched, oscillating tone erupted from her speakers, growing louder, more frantic. Elias, on a video call with her, watched in horror as her monitors began to flash with distorted images, Sarah's face, then static, then the image of Marcus's folded corpse in the glove box. "I can't turn it off," Chloe shrieked, pressing her hands to her ears, but the sound was already consuming her. Elias watched as the air around Chloe began to shimmer, like a data packet being compressed. Her body started to contort, her limbs bending inward, her skin rippling as if being forcibly shrunk. With a series of sickening squelches and bone-grinding crunches, Chloe's entire body was sucked into the glowing blue light of her main monitor. The screen flickered once more, then settled on a static image, a single, black pixel against a field of white. Where Chloe had been sitting, there was nothing but a faint, burnt smell and a small, perfectly square depression in her chair. The missing group chat updated. Chloe had also left the chat. The observer remained. Elias felt an unimaginable dread. The monster wasn't just folding them, it was turning them into data, compressing their very essence into nothingness. Elias was a wreck. Noah had completely vanished, leaving no trace. Elias knew he was next. His phone, which he now dreaded, was his tormentor, always displaying the missing chat icon. Just as a strange, high-pitched static began to emit from his device, a knock came at his door. He cautiously opened it to find a figure shrouded in a dark hoodie. The man had deep scars crisscrossing his face, and his eyes were completely milky white, unseeing. "Elias," the man rasped, his voice strangely familiar, yet distorted. "You don't remember me, do you? But you remember Sarah." Elias stared, a cold wave of recognition washing over him. "Arno," he whispered. Arno was Sarah's twin brother, whom they had all but forgotten. Arno explained that after Sarah's death, consumed by grief and rage, he had sought answers. He found them in the dark corners of the internet, in forums filled with tales of digital entities that fed on concentrated negative emotions. Sarah's desperate terror and the group's malicious intent had manifested something truly awful. It feeds on negative ratings, the bad karma, the hate, the cyberbullying, Arno explained, his sightless eyes somehow fixed on Elias. It became tied to Sarah's trauma, but it needed a host, a member, to connect it to your reality. I offered myself. I promised it all the bad ratings you guys had created if it would stop hurting Sarah. Arno revealed a horrific truth. He wasn't just Sarah's brother. He had become the observer in the group chat, a human firewall, trying to contain the entity, but its power was growing, demanding more. The monster wasn't just compressing bodies, it was converting human essence into pure, malicious data, uploading them to its digital void. Arno was its unwilling messenger, blind to the physical world but seeing every digital flicker. He was carrying a massive, transparent server rack strapped to his back, a visible manifestation of the entity's network. Arno explained the final, horrifying rule: the entity fed on negative ratings. To sever its connection to their reality, Elias had to give the entity the ultimate, bad rating, a final, overwhelming surge of concentrated negativity. Arno, its host, would be the target. He led Elias to an abandoned server farm, a cold, humming cavern filled with flashing lights and whirring machines. "You need to delete me, Elias," Arno said, his voice trembling. "Open the missing group. Send one last message, a confession. And then, you have to press the block and report button on my profile. That final, absolute, bad rating will draw the entity here, to me." He pointed to a massive, industrial-grade incinerator. "And when it comes, you push me in. Destroy the host, destroy the network." Elias hesitated. "But what about you?" Arno smiled, a pained expression on his scarred face. "I'm already gone. This is for Sarah. For a world where bullies don't get away with it." Elias opened the missing group. He typed, his fingers shaking, a confession of his guilt, his complicity in Sarah's death. As he pressed send, a high-pitched, digital shriek filled the server farm. The lights began to flicker violently, strobing with Sarah's pixelated face. The entity manifested, a towering, multi-limbed creature of pure light and static, its form shimmering like corrupted data, stretching its digitizing tendrils towards Arno. "Now, Elias. Delete me," Arno yelled. Elias, tears streaming down his face, clicked Arno's profile, pressed the block and report button, and with a primal scream, shoved Arno into the roaring inferno of the incinerator. The entity shrieked, a sound of a million voices being ripped apart. The server rack on Arno's back glowed blindingly before exploding into a shower of sparks and corrupted data. The room plunged into darkness. Elias survived. But he could never touch a smartphone again. Every flickering screen, every notification sound, sent him into a cold sweat. Sometimes, when he was alone, he would see it, a single, black pixel on his laptop screen, winking at him. And he knew, deep in his digital heart, that some debts, especially those paid with a life, could never truly be erased. He was free from the entity, but forever trapped in the ghost of the missing group, a silent member in a world that would never forget.